Good morning, students. Until now, we have studied the heat energy available in solar radiations at any particular time of the day and at any particular location on earth. And after that, we have studied solar heat collectors. Now, from today, we will discuss the applications of these studied heat collectors and different solar heating systems. So we will start our study from the water heating. So the first basic structure that we can have in solar heating system is given here, and this is known as thermosiphon system, and this system uses the natural tendency of hot water to rise above the cold water. And the second thing, the hot water tank is placed at higher height than the top of the solar collector level, because if there will be a level difference from here to here, then water will be able to circulate without any external force. So when the water that is passing from this, that is available here, get heated up, then it moves the upward, and because of the level difference, and when water moves up, a cold water takes the place of this vacant space in the pipe, that is the water moved up. So in this way, the hot water come here and cold water come to the collector from here, and due to the height difference, the circulation of the water continues. Okay. In this full system, there is no electrical system required to force the water to flow from one level to another one due to this height difference. And in the night time, it may be possible that the water temperature falls, and in that case, it may be possible due to fall in temperature of the water, the circulation of the water may reverse. So in that case, to protect the reverse flow, from the reverse flow, a valve is required that can be placed in the system to make the circulation of the water in one direction. So in that case, you can place the valve either here or in this cold region. With its advantages, there are few drawbacks as well. The first one is that the solar collectors are always placed at a height, either roof mounted or ground. So if it is roof mounted, then in that case, providing the water tank at higher level than this is very difficult. Even though if it is ground mounted, in that case also, making the tank level higher than this is not very feasible in all the cases. So in that case, to make the design applicable for every place, this system is not suitable. For that purpose, a pump to circulate the water is needed, and if the pump is there, in that case, the tank can be at any height, either at the height of this or above that or below that, according to the feasibility of the placement. So the next one is pumped solar water heater. So this is the pumped solar water heater. The only difference between thermosiphon and forced circulation water heating system is the placement of the hot water tank. Further additional requirements are there, that is the pump to force the water in, and to control the pump, control unit is required. In this case, every process remains same. The radiations are being collected by the tubes, that is black colored surface, and the tube exchange its heat to the fluid flowing through that through convection process, and that heat of the fluid can be exchanged through hot water tank, in hot water tank, to this fluid that is available here, that is water, and after heat exchange the water get heated up and that can be collected from here. And this is the additional unit, and this is for backup purpose, and combining this and this, it is known as double cycle system with forced circulation water heating system with the boiler backup heating. The operation is similar as it was in thermosiphon, and the remaining things are same. Only thing, the additional thing is this pump which forcefully inject the water in the solar collector, and due to the pressure of this pump the water rises up, and when it is passes through the tube it get heated up and comes to the heat exchanger from where water get heated, that is available in the tank. And to control the pump according to the temperature, control unit is provided which control the opening and closing of the pump. So in this case there is a drawback which is not with the thermosiphon system, that is to control the pump electricity is required. Until now both the systems that we have, either thermosiphon or forced circulation water heating system, both can be utilized for a small level, either for single house or for single family, for a small family. But if we wish to install at a huge level, then there is also possibility that is known as solar district heating. So the first one was thermosiphon, the second one was pumped solar water heater, next in this series can be said as, this is one, it can be said as solar district heating. Solar district heating. So let us see what is solar district heating. This is the image for solar district heating. In solar district heating system, one solution is either entire house state should be fitted with solar systems or a large central solar collector is installed. So in this case, if we are using a central storage tank, then it has some advantage. For example, the first one can be the surface to volume ratio of a central storage tank is much better than that of a distributed storage system. So the storage heat losses are very low in the case of central storage system. However, there is one drawback. Every house should be connected from a central storage tank through hot and cold water pipe. So the pipe should be of larger length. In that case, there will be larger heat loss through the length of the pipe. So in this case, higher piping losses will be there in central tank. Okay. In this system, the forced circulation is mandatory, and to make the solar district heating cost effective, a solar geyser is to integrate the collector assembly, cold water supply, and piping with the design of a new house under construction. The payback period of this design is, the system is almost 5.5 years. Next in this series is solar dryers. And if we talk about solar dryers, then this is the image for that. And directly coming to the operation of the topic, operation of the dryer system, let us discuss some requirement of this and the effect of this. So in that direction, we know that the controlled drying is required for various crops and products. For example, grains, coffee, tobacco, vegetables and fruits and fish. So in this way, if we keep them for future use for longer period, then the controlled drying is required, and in this way their quality can be enhanced if the drying is proper. And if we are able to get the energy for drying purpose free of cost or in very low price without affecting the environment, then that is very good option for the drying purpose. So in that direction, the solar dryer system is designed. This is the basic structure of solar dryer system. This is the very basic one, in which this is the glass surface and this is the blackened surface, and air is forced to come inside to this region, and the sun radiations are coming from here, and there is the possibility that part of it is get reflected back. However, major part of the radiations go inside, and the internal air, the air that comes in, get heated up, and that heated air have only path to pass from here. Here is the crop, or here is the material that is required drying. So this, when the heated air passes from here in controlled way, the crop get dried, and the air after passing from here came out from this. And if this drying system is not followed, follow the drying this crop in open space, then there may be spoil of the product crop due to climate conditions like rain, wind, etc. And there may be loss due to birds and different animals, and high energy intensive expenses can be there. So there are so many things that we can save in this case. We are not only saving the energy, we are saving the material itself from different way. So solar dryer make use of solar radiations, ambient temperature, relative humidity, and heated air is passed naturally or mechanically, forcefully by applying force from here, circulated to remove the moisture from the placed the material, that is the crop or any grains or any coffee or beans or anything. This way we are able to dry the system here. It is very useful device for especially agricultural purpose, because crop drying is required time to time. Second, in food processing industries for dehydration of fruits, potatoes, onions and other vegetables as well. And it is required in dairy industries, for example production of the powder milk. It is very important in that case as well. And in some times if there is no work, then drying the woods and timbers. And the further we can say it is used in textile industries for drying of textile materials. So it can be utilized in different purposes in different areas. The working principle of solar dryer is the operation of this is to raise the heat of the product, which is usually held within a component of box, while at the same time passing air through the compartment to remove the moisture from this. The flow of air is often promoted using stacks, which takes advantage of the fact that hot air rises and can therefore be drawn upwards through a chimney. And there may be possibility that air can be forcefully placed inside, that can be used with the help of a fan, and the size of this can vary according to the use. Next in this series is solar desalination. And for that purpose the image is placed here. This is the solar distillation system, and this is the full system, in which this is the saline water, impure water. The bottom level is blackened to absorb the maximum radiations, sun radiations, and this is completely closed chamber. There is no leakage to pass the steam or air. The solar radiations are allowed to come inside, and the temperature of the bottom surface increases, and that transfer its heat to the water through convection process, and water get evaporated, and after evaporation the water droplets can be formed at the inner surface of this glass. This is glass, inner surface of it, and that can be collected through this path, and this is the distillated fresh water tank, and the fresh water can be collected from here, that can be utilized for different purposes. So in this system, to make it more efficient, the only thing that is important at this stage is to not get heat loss from any way. So for that purpose, here two glass surfaces are being used, and there is a small distance between these two, so that the heat that is available inside get not be lost from here, and there is no leakage at any side, and this water droplets can be collected from here. It can be collected. There should be a tank from which you can fill this tank if the level becomes down, and to clean this surface you can have an space for cleaning the surface. So in this way there may be further many modifications to make the system efficient and cost effective. So in this way we are able to collect the pure water. This system has many advantages over the conventional distillation system, or we can say water purifier. For example, it produces pure water, first thing. Second thing, unlike the conventional purifiers, it is not required any prime movers. Third thing, no energy requirement is there. However, any conventional purifier can have. And this is the next, what we can say, it is very, very simple. No skilled operation is required in this case. And the next, what we can say, it can be manufactured at the local level. No any skilled manufacturing is required in this for this type of distillation system. And what we can say, there is not big investment. It is very, only few systems, only few things are required. That is very cost effective as well. And it can purify highly saline water, even though seawater as well. And if we talk about the working principle of it, then we can say it is based on simple scientific principle of evaporation and condensation. In the system, the saline water is filled in the basin, which is painted black at the bottom. Solar radiations received by the black surface is absorbed effectively, and heat is transferred to the water in the basin, and temperature of the water increases, and if temperature increases, then the water starts evaporate, and as temperature increases, the evaporation rate increases, and water vapor formed by evaporation rises up due to its natural tendency, and condensed water vapor trickles down into trough, and it is collected in the storage tank. So in this way we are able to collect the distilled water from saline water, and the distilled water obtained from here can be used for industrial processes, hospitals, and dispensaries for sterilization. It can be used in garages and automobile workshop for radiator and battery maintenance, and there are so many applications of this type of water collected from this system.